7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The Voice of Stockton. For more information on The Voice of Stockton, go to thevoiceofstockton.org.
The views and opinions expressed in the following program do not necessarily reflect those of KXVS The Voice of Stockton or its parents, affiliates, management, and staff.
Stocktonians, and welcome to another exciting episode of Tales and Tips. I am so honored to have with me today Don Nelson, who is the executive director of our wonderful Stockton Symphony. Welcome, Don. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you very much. Great to be here.
All right. So let's talk about how amazing our symphony is. You and I were just discussing that we are the third oldest symphony in California.
Correct.
So how long has the symphony existed? How did it get started?
Well, it started in 1926 with Manlio Silva, a Italian immigrant, came to Stockton. He was a pharmacist, but a great violinist and a conductor. And he got together musicians in the area and started the Stockton Symphony.
Awesome, awesome. And do you know how big the symphony was at that time compared to now?
Well, back then it was much smaller. And they performed in the Stockton High School, I believe. And it was mostly folks who lived around here, amateur musicians. His brother was in the orchestra as well.
Awesome.
The cellist. And he conducted till 1958 when he passed away just before the first concert of the season in 1958.
Wow.
Yeah.
And take us through more of the history of the symphony and how it became at Delta and just some of the highlights of our symphony.
Sure. Well, as I said, in 1926 it began, and it in the mid-60s, Kyung-Soo Won took over as the music director and grew it into a professional orchestra. And the performances were at the Stockton High School. And in 1978, Atherton Auditorium at Delta College opened. It was built, I believe, in 77, opened in 78, and the symphony has been performing there ever since.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Awesome.
It's a great place. And then Peter Jaffe, our current music director, took over in 1995. He's been here for 23 years now.
Awesome. And he is amazing. And you and I were talking earlier about how he has done some performances at Rotary Club of Stockton. He's considered an honored member of our club, and he's also done things with Leadership Stockton and so many other community things in schools and otherwise. Go back, earlier you were talking about how the symphony became professional. So what does that mean? What qualifies it as professional versus just community people getting together performing?
Mm-hmm. Well, professional means that the musicians are paid. We are what they call a per-service orchestra. A service is a rehearsal or a concert. So anytime the musicians are performing with us, they're paid. So it's a professional union orchestra. And the quality has grown ever since it became a professional orchestra, and it's grown over the years for a couple of reasons. First, Kyung-Soo Won helped make more quality performances, and then Peter took over, and every year he increases the quality of how things are performed here. And it's also a result of students who, the generations of musicians, as they've gone on, each generation gets better and better and better. So the musicians nowadays are just incredible, compared to even 20, 30 years ago.
And I want to give a shout out to my friend Elizabeth Kim, who's a lawyer in our community and my fellow Leadership Stockton graduate, and I believe she's a violinist.
She's a violinist, and she's a board member. One of our
I didn't
board
know
members.
that.
Yes.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Did you want to give a shout out to any other board members?
Well, all our board. It's a great board. It's the co-presidents currently are Jim Morris and Dan Terry, and there's 19, 20 folks on the board, and it's a great board. They work hard in the community. They're volunteers. They contribute to the orchestra and help the orchestra improve and keep going.
Awesome, awesome. And how many members are there currently in the orchestra?
Well, contracted, there's about 70, but depending on what pieces we're playing, there could be more. We use extras. There could be as many as 80 or 90 on stage, depending on the piece, or as few as 30, 40, 50 if we're playing Baroque music or something like that.
So if you have an unusual genre of music, just like you mentioned, how do you find other musicians to come and fill in on those pieces?
Well, we have a personnel manager, Hal Willenborg, one of our trumpet players, and he has a whole list of musicians from the region who he calls on to fill in spots when we need it.
And what about, I've attended at times where you've had a guest musician or a guest singer. How do you decide that you're going to do that, and how do you find those people?
Well, they're guest artists, and pretty much every classics concert will have a guest artist, unless we do something like, well, even if we do Beethoven's Ninth, we have 4 singers on Beethoven's Ninth, or Carmina Burana, there's 3 singers. So we usually have guest artists, and Peter Jaffe, our music director, along with our artistic committee, create the season, and he chooses what works we're doing, and then fits in what concerto we will do. We usually have a concerto on every concert. For instance, the upcoming concert on November 10th, we'll have Chris Brubeck, who's Dave Brubeck's son,
Awesome.
coming to play a piece he wrote called The Blues and Beyond, which is for trombone and trumpet. So we'll have 2 soloists up there. In the last concert we had a solo flutist, a young, great, incredible flute player, Anthony Triunfo. In January, we'll have violinist, Sandy Camera, incredible violinist who has done a lot of work recently with Danny Elfman, who recently wrote a concerto for her. She's not playing that. She's going to play Beethoven concerto. And then on our 4th Classics in March, we'll have Frank Weens, local pianist who is a professor at University of the Pacific. He'll play the Schumann concerto. And then our final concert, we actually won't have a soloist because it's going to be a community-based concert called the Celebration of the Sister Cities. And the Stockton has a Stockton Sister Cities Association. And there's 7 sister cities from various countries. I'm not going to name them all because I don't remember them all, but there's 7 of them. And we're going to be doing music from composers who either were from the sister city itself or close to it. If we couldn't find anybody within the sister city, someone within the region of the sister cities.
How neat.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And going back to Dave Brubeck, he's such he was so much to Stockton, and just everything about him was so amazing, and what he did for the community and for jazz. And that's so awesome that a relative of his son, you said, is going to be performing. That's huge, because he was big with not only Delta and UOP, and there's been setups in the museum talking about things that he's done, and it's just so awesome.
Yeah, Dave actually, along with Chris, wrote a piece that was a consortium that we started here. It was called the Ansel Adams America. So Dave and Chris wrote the music and put the music to photos of Ansel Adams.
Oh, awesome.
And it was premiered here, world premiere, and performed since then all around the world. It's,
wow.
Yeah, really amazing.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, and Chris himself wrote a number of works for us. One was a Mark Twain piece that's available on CD, and a couple other pieces for us.
Awesome. And what is the date again of that event, and how does someone get tickets?
That's November 10th, and it's at 6 p.m. at Delta College, Atherton Auditorium, and you can either go online at stocktonsymphony.org and purchase tickets there, or call our box office, which is 209-951-0196. And then after 3 o'clock on the Friday of the concert, after that you have to go to the Delta box office. So on the day of the concert, the tickets will be available at the Delta box office. And other pieces on that, we're going to start with a piece called Armed Forces Salute, because it's November 10th, the day before Veterans Day. So we're going to play a piece that has all the songs from all the armed forces.
Wonderful. The different branches of service.
Yeah, different branches of service. And so that'll be great. And then we're going to also play a piece by Lily Boulanger, who was a French composer. She died fairly young at 25, but she wrote a great piece that we're going to play. And her sister was Nadia Boulanger, who was a famous composition teacher who taught many students like Gershwin and Aaron Copland and many others.
Wow.
Yeah, and then we'll end with a piece by Saint-Saëns, which is Symphony number 3, which is also called the Organ Symphony because it's got an organ in. So that'll be pretty cool. It's great. It's going to be a great concert.
Awesome. And for our listeners that may not know, what defines something as classical? What makes a musical piece classical?
Well, that's a good question. The word classical actually came from a genre from the time period of 750s to 1820 something. So that's where the genre came from, but they call all symphonic music classical and certain solo and ensemble pieces classical as well. And I think it's because it's the word classical it's sort of a traditional type of thing. But we'll play every year. We commission a new piece from a composer, and that's still called classical. So it's kind of interesting how that works. If we had a better word to put in there, because some people think classical and they think, oh, it's elitist and oh, it's hoity-toity, but it's not. People who go in for the first time to our concerts and listen, it brings them into their inner self, and within a piece of music, within 5 minutes of a piece of music, can go through many emotions. Mm-hmm. And people, even first timers, will walk out just amazed and then come back. So it's great stuff. And
it paints a story.
Yeah.
If you close your eyes and you just listen to the music, your mind can go anywhere just following the pattern of the notes.
Yeah. Yeah, and live music, you're sitting next to someone who you couldn't, be the poorest person in town and sit next to a billionaire, and each of you gets something out of this music, mm-hmm. which is really amazing.
The other wonderful thing I love that the symphony does is you have events that aren't necessarily classical, but you've had like the Michael Jackson event or the Star Wars event or the 70s. You and I were talking about the 70s event the other day, and those are so much fun, and I love that it can introduce families and children to the orchestra or the symphony, but have it be an enjoyable experience so that they might start to attend the symphony.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, those are called our POPs concerts, which means popular music. POPs, short for popular. Our opening this year was a concert of Broadway music. In December, we will be performing our holiday pops, which is traditional holiday music with a sing-along and a lot of the songs that everybody knows from the holiday times. Then in February, we're going to be doing a Hollywood Hit Parade, which is going to be music from movies way back, Gone with the Wind and things like that, but all the way up to music from the new Wonder Woman movie. And
awesome.
We will, of course, since
Very
it's
diverse.
movie music, we'll
Mm-hmm.
have some John Williams on there, playing some works from the Star Wars.
Great.
And music from The Incredibles. So we're going to have a whole wide variety of music on that concert. And then our last Pops concert of the season will be a tribute to Frank Sinatra, which will have a great singer and storyteller singing some of the greatest songs that Sinatra
Awesome.
ever recorded. And it is good for families, but so are the classics. We have families who come, and we have special student discounts. We have a $15 ticket for purchase in advance for students. Students who are high school or college or even younger can buy student rush tickets at the box office the day of the concert for $10. If there's a group of students, they can buy student group tickets for $10 each. And so they can, and it's not specified to the back of the hall, the cheap tickets. They can buy a $57 tickets for 10 or 15 bucks.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's amazing. That's excellent because that makes it practical for everyone. Just like you said, you can have just your everyday person sitting next to a doctor or a lawyer and just all be able to enjoy this magnificent experience that we're so fortunate to have in Stockton.
Thanks. And our tickets actually start at $25. So, it's affordable pretty much for everybody who would like to go and experience great music and have a great time. Our concerts, our classics are early. They're 6 o'clock, so you could either eat dinner before or after, go to some cocktails before or after. Our Pops concerts are on Sunday afternoon at 2:30, so it's a great time for everybody. It's after lunch, before dinner, and it's great experience.
Awesome. And let's back up, talk about your affiliation with the symphony. How did you become involved, and how did you become the director?
Well, go way back. I was a musician. I played bass and performed in a number of orchestras, and then got involved in orchestra management. And for 14 years, I was in Spokane, Washington, as the general manager of the Spokane Symphony, and we owned a theater, so I was general manager of the theater there. And then I was lured away by the Buffalo Philharmonic to be their general manager of the symphony, of their symphony, and of the theater there. But I didn't like it there so much, so I was there for a year. And then there was a search committee doing a search for the executive director here, and the headhunter company asked me if I would be interested, and I told them I was, and came here, and here I am now.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Excellent.
So
you were lured away from Buffalo to be in Stockton?
Yeah, sort of, yeah.
Awesome. That's awesome.
And I've been here for 3 years now. So
excellent.
Yeah.
And it sounds like from your history that you've worked with several different symphonies. How does the Stockton Symphony compare to the others?
Well, when I got here and first heard it, I was amazed how great it sounds. It's just amazing. What a great orchestra we have here. And, I think you can compare it to a lot of places. There's, you think of some, major orchestras, I won't use names, but some major orchestras that work every week, all kinds of different things in a week. Sometimes the musicians there get tired and just kind of phone it in. And our folks never do that. Our musicians are constantly giving their all, 110, 20%. And they're, like I said before, the generations go on, the musicians get better and better. And we have a lot of younger folks, but some older folks as well. But it's a mix, and it's just great playing.
Awesome. How many hours a week are they practicing as a group?
Well, when we have a classics concert, we do 4 rehearsals. A rehearsal is 2.5 hours long. So we'll rehearse Wednesday, Thursday, and then Friday afternoon and Friday evening, and then perform on Saturday.
Wow.
Pops concerts, we'll do 2, maybe 1 rehearsal. Some of the Pops artists prefer only 1 rehearsal, and some like to have 2, but that's the most we do on Pops concerts. But that doesn't mean that's all the musicians do. They go home, a piece like the Sasson that's coming up, there's certain areas there, certain parts for either violin or cello or whatever instrument that they're going to have to practice hours and hours and hours to get those parts right. And you never know then when they go on stage that they've, it could be one lick, as they call it in music. They just spend hours and hours just learning that one little part. But, a piece like Sasson, 30 minutes or so long, there's a lot of notes to play and a lot of time to put in practicing.
And when they're practicing something classical, will they listen to it performed by another orchestra, or will they just go based on the notes and practicing?
Some people do, and some people don't. It depends on who it is and, what their form of learning is. When I was a musician, I would listen to a piece that I didn't know, And when I first started, I didn't know most of them, so I listened to a lot of them. If it's a piece that's not too popular, not too familiar, then people will probably listen to it to get an idea of tempos, how fast something goes if they don't know the piece, so they don't practice something difficult real slow and then get to rehearsal and, it's twice as fast. So, that's how they do that.
Awesome. And if we have someone listening that's a musician that's interested in being a part of the orchestra, how would they audition for that or sign up or let you know that they're interested?
Well, we have auditions when there's a spot open. Currently, I think most of our spots are filled. There may be one violin or two that's open that we fill with extras. And usually it's in either in June or in September that we audition. We advertise in union newspapers and on their websites. And so that's how one finds out. And it's also on our website, so you can look at our website. From time to time, we have a web page for auditions, and if we have one that we're going to be auditioning for, the information's there. And we make a list of pieces that they have to learn for the audition. And like most orchestras these days, our auditions are behind a screen, so we don't know if it's a male, a female, old, young, minority.
It's just the notes.
Yep, it's just the notes that people are listening for. And
that's awesome.
Yeah, that's been going on since about the mid-'70s. There were some legal issues brought up, and so orchestras started putting up screens, and that way you just, like you say, it's just notes. We're looking for someone who can play music. And it's not just notes. You can play notes perfectly, but if it's not musical, it's probable they won't get that job. But if they play the notes great in a musical fashion, they have a good chance.
Awesome, awesome. And let's talk now about how the community can help the orchestra. I'm sure you're always looking for people to financially support the orchestra. What about volunteers and other things that you can use? And maybe talk about the different levels of donations that you can do.
Well, we're a tax-exempt nonprofit organization. 42% of our revenue comes from ticket sales, which means that a good portion has to come from contributions. We have sponsors of our concerts who give pretty large sums, and we also then have what they call an annual fund. So people can contribute to the symphony in any amount from, $1 up to $1 million, and we'll take it all. So we have concert sponsors and guest artist sponsors, and so if people are interested or companies are interested, we would be very open to that. We definitely cultivate people and cultivate businesses to try and get them involved.
You have your program, too, that people can advertise in.
Yes. There's advertising in our program. We have two programs, one for classics, one for pops, so you could do both or one or the other. We're going to be visible to, up to 1,400 people per concert, 9 concerts per year, 5 classics and 4 pops. And then it's also, for sponsors, they're also mentioned on our newspaper ads and in our email blasts. And we send out postcards about concerts. They're mentioned on there. So they get a lot of visibility out in the community.
Awesome.
People who might be interested, they could also become board members and become part of the board. The Board of Governance would check each person out. We have a Symphony Alliance, which is a volunteer organization that they could become part of. And we are currently, in order to keep our future going, doing a silent phase, and even though I'm mentioning it now, it's still a silent phase, of a capital campaign to raise some funds from which we can use the investment income to help with our production expenses.
Do you have any fundraising events? You talked about the campaign, capital campaign, that you're in the silent phase of.
Well, we do a gala. Every now and then we're planning one right now for sometime either in June or September, and that would be a fundraising event. That's currently kind of events we do. We do hold smaller events where we invite donors and possible donors we're trying to cultivate.
So if someone listening wants to donate or be a part of the board or part of the alliance, how would they contact you to do that?
Sure. You could call our office. You could also contribute online. We have an online contribution. On every page of our website, there's a button at the bottom of each page that says Donate Now.
Awesome.
And so you click on that, you can donate.
What's the web address?
It's StocktonSymphony.org.
Wonderful.
Yep.
Facebook page?
We do have a Facebook page, Stockton Symphony.
Okay.
And we're not set up for donations through there, but they can click on various things there to get to our website.
Okay.
And we have a recurring contribution page on our website as well.
Oh, awesome.
That they can, if someone want to contribute monthly, they can do that.
What about bequeathing in their will?
We do have a legacy society. You can call me up at our office, 951-0196, and we'll be happy to make you part of our legacy society. We have quite a few people who have already done that. The same with our capital campaign, which someone can make a 3-year pledge on that, or give us cash right away. We're always open to that.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And what about volunteers to be like docents at the performances, things like that?
We currently don't do that.
Okay.
Yeah. But the Alliance is volunteers, and they help us with post-concert receptions for sponsors. They're currently going to have I believe in February, a trip to San Francisco, a bus trip that will help raise money for us. We do some dinners with donors and musicians that they help us create as well.
Awesome. And in the time that you've been with the symphony, share with us 1 or 2 moments or events that were really special to you.
Well, one is our opening concert this season, which was on September 22nd. We did a project with the media and photography students of Delta College, and they went out and took pictures and videos of their community where they live, the community of Stockton, and they brought that back to their class and created a 12-minute video, and then that was put to music by Emmy-winning composer John Weinglass.
Wow.
And it was a great opportunity for the students because it showed it gave them an opportunity to create a project that had definite time limits on it. So the composer could get the video and then compose the music in time for the concert. And it created a project for them to be able to learn how to plan a project, create a project, plan a project, and carry the project out. And they did an incredible job, a splendid job, and it was great. And everybody who was at the concert enjoyed it. So that was one that was really, really amazing.
Awesome. Can you still see that video? Is it online somewhere?
No, it's not.
Okay.
No, there's with the music and the union rules and things like that keeps it from happening.
Okay.
And then, as I mentioned earlier, we're doing the celebration of the Sister Cities. That's going to be a really wonderful project, and we're working with the Sister Cities Association to create some other events within the community during the time of that concert.
Awesome.
And I think there's not a lot of people who know that there's a Sister Cities Association. So it's our mission is to inspire joy and build community through music. So that's really going to do both of those, inspire joy through the music and build a community so people in the community can know about the Sister Cities Association.
Awesome. That sounds neat because, yes, you'll see the signs around the cities for the different other communities that we're connected with, but you really don't hear of a lot of events connected to that. So that's neat that the symphony is going to do that and hopefully unite countries together with doing that.
Yeah, we hope to create some videos to put on our Facebook and other places of interviews with members of the sister cities here. Pardon me. And also the sister cities, people from the cities.
Awesome. That sounds really neat. Anything else, and I'll give you just a couple minutes, anything else that you'd like to add that we haven't covered or that you really want our listeners to know about the symphony?
Well, the symphony is something that creates positivity for Stockton.
Definitely.
Before I got here, before I came here, I told people I was coming here. They said, "Why are you going there?" And then when I got here, people say, "Why'd you come here?" And I think, there's a certain amount of negative personal image here. And the symphony helps to do away with that.
Definitely.
To not just do away with it, but to build a positive image.
Build community.
Yep. And that's what we do. We create evenings of great music for people to, especially at this time, the way things go politically here, to just forget about all that and get in there, and regardless of which side of that political spectrum people are on, they're all sharing an experience of positivity, an experience of incredible emotional health building. And so that's what the symphony does for Stockton. And
That's
it's
awesome.
been going on for 92 years, and we hope to keep it going for another 92, if not 100.
Awesome. That sounds amazing. And the way that you describe music, and music is known to be so therapeutic to help with health conditions, to help with stress. It's similar, as a veterinarian, I can relate it to animals and what animals do for people. And it's just, it helps them forget about all the stresses in the world and just relax and enjoy something. And it's wonderful. And we're so fortunate to have such an amazing symphony. And it's exciting to hear from you, who has worked with other symphonies, how our symphony rates compared to others. And it's just so exciting. And I love that we have this opportunity and that the symphony is so community focused.
Yeah. And there's also a program that I haven't mentioned yet, which is sort of a stealth program. It's called Steppin' Out, and it's for 4th and 5th graders, and we perform for, between 6,500 and 7,000 4th and 5th grade students attend our concerts every year. And there's 3 days in a row, 2 concerts a day, and we provide in-class materials for the teachers.
Awesome.
To work with the students on, and it connects music to other subjects. For instance, this year we're doing music of Romeo and Juliet, so it's music based on a play of Shakespeare. So within class, they can connect music to literature. Last year we did pictures at an exhibition, so it connected music to art. So it's an opportunity for these students who may never have and may never again be introduced to symphonic music, and connect that music to curriculum. And we also connect it through through math, because counting measures and things like that is part of math. It's part of division and things like that.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And that gives the students a way to connect to the music and enjoy it. And some of those students could be your future musicians.
Yeah, they can. And it's funny because every now and then I'll see someone in the lobby during a concert, and they'll tell me they went to Steppin' Out because it's been going on for, I think this is our 22nd year. And every student, when they come out of there, they're just incredibly, have an incredible, cheerful attitude.
Awesome.
Yeah, and we've done some surveys of teachers to find out how it affected the students, and they say that the students go back to class and have a better attitude toward learning, which is
Awesome.
really amazing.
That's huge.
Yeah.
That's huge. You're changing lives. That's awesome. And if there's a teacher who doesn't participate or a school that's not participating in the Steppin' Out, how would they be able to sign up for that?
Well, we still have some seats left. We perform 2 days at Atherton, which is 4 concerts, and then 1 day up at Hutchins Street Square, 2 concerts. And they could call our office again, 951-0196, or go to our Symphony page, and they can sign up there. There's under Education, the Education tab at the top of the page. Click on that, and then go to Steppin' Out, and they can sign up to go to the concert
Awesome.
through there. And we also provide the teacher materials up there as well.
Excellent. And to me, what's exciting about that is that's also a link for the students that maybe they decide they want to play a musical instrument.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just more positivity. As much as we can have children off of the streets and participating in positive things, the better that is for them and for the community.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's at a time, fourth graders mostly, those schools that do have music, they usually start in 5th grade, so it gives them an introduction to the instruments and which one they might be interested in performing on.
Awesome. Excellent. All right. Anything else that you'd like to add?
Well, just that we invite those who haven't come before to come to our concerts. We have something for everyone. We have the classics, and like I said, within there, there's different emotions on each piece. And we have the popular music concerts, which there's different types of concerts for everybody. So, you know, people who hear symphony and think, oh, tuxedos and bow ties. Well, that's not the case. You can come dressed casually.
Lots
or
of people
come,
wearing jeans.
yeah, or come dressed up and make it a night out, have it a date night or a family night, and choose one of the concerts that has the music that you like on it. And if you're not sure, come to a concert and you'll find, even if you didn't know what it was, that you would love it.
Definitely. I couldn't agree more. Go ahead and mention the next couple concert dates and just contact information again, website, phone number,
Sure.
Facebook page.
Well, we have our next classics, as I said, November 10th at 6 o'clock at Delta College. And then our Holiday Pops is in December on the 16th. It's a Sunday. And that's got chorus, the Stockton Chorale and Youth Chorale will be singing on that one.
Awesome.
Yeah, and lots of great, really fabulous holiday music. And then our next concert after that will be in January on the 26th, again at Delta College at 6 p.m. That's one with Sandy Cameron. And that'll have some great music on it. We have Beethoven, Violin Concerto. We have the Bernstein Candide Overture. It's Bernstein's anniversary of his birth, the 100th year. And if you don't know the Candide Overture by name, you'll know it by sound. If you're,
Definitely.
and then the Prokofiev Romeo and Juliet, and we're going to have students from UOP in between movements doing portions of Romeo and Juliet.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, so that'll be really, really, really cool. And then Classics 4 will be, again, it's in March 23rd. And we're going to have Vaughan Williams' Fantasia on a theme of Thomas Tallis, which was played in, I can't remember the movie, but it was a movie where a ship, I can't remember but it was a great movie. the Schumann Piano Concerto and Symphony Number 41 by Mozart, which is called the Jupiter, which is a great symphony. It's his last symphony. And then our Pops concert, which is in February, will play that Hollywood movie music. And then Classics 5 will be in April with Sister Cities, and then Frank Sinatra, tribute to Frank Sinatra in May.
Awesome.
Yeah, and it's a great season. And
look at the huge variety
yeah.
of things and ways that you make music enticing and accessible and interesting for all ages.
Mm-hmm. It's a great season, and we're actually currently planning next season. So we plan about a year and a half to make the programs, and we're trying to finalize that, and information on that should be out in March.
Awesome. And will you please give your web address one more time
Sure.
and the office phone number?
Yeah, it's www.stocktonsymphony.org, and the office phone number is 209-951-0196.
Awesome. Wonderful. Well, thank you so much for
Yeah.
being here today. Great conversation, just highlighting our amazing symphony. And it sounds like the season has already started out phenomenally, and it's going to be just amazing.
It's great, and we look forward to having everybody there. And when you come early, there is beverages in the lobby. You can get non-alcoholic or wine and beer in the lobby, and have a great time.
Awesome. Wonderful. Well, thank you again for being here.
Thanks, Julie.
And with that, I'm going to sign off. I am the voice of Stockton. You are the voice of Stockton. We are the voice of Stockton. Let's make it a great day.